How's it going, everyone? Hi Jump here, and today I'm bringing you a very special video, my review of the Ryzen 1800X. I actually just got back from PDX Land yesterday, and I think it's a perfect time for me to be bringing you this review because it was just the last PDX Land I found out I was going to be getting the 1800X press kit. That was back in February, and since then I have built myself this epic machine thanks to AMD and their generosity in sending me this just amazing processor that has done the world for me. I mean, it also works out too because at this PDX Land they had the Vega Challenge, but more on that towards the end of this video. So, like I said, Ryzen has completely changed everything for me. I went from using an FX 8350 to this powerhouse of a processor that is the Ryzen 1800X. I mean, the difference between it is just absolutely night and day. I mean, just a couple of days ago, I saw someone on Twitter having that same upgrade, and man, I am so excited for them to be able to experience what I have been streaming on, gaming on, and producing on for the last, wow. Oh my gosh, wow, it's almost been 6 months, and it is just absolutely wild. So like I mentioned, streaming with this processor. I went from barely being able to stream Overwatch to now I try to find new ways to break this processor for me to be able to drop frames while I'm streaming. I can export video in Premiere and pictures in Photoshop, and it's just absolutely wild. I can do this all while streaming with no drop frames. But we can get more into specifics later. But in the meantime, let's check out specs for the 1800X. When you pick up this processor, you're getting 8 cores, 16 threads with a base clock of 3.6 and a turbo of 4.0. But that's not even looking at how much you can overclock this. I've seen streamers like Elnator get 4.2. 4.2 with 16 threads and 8 cores. That's ridiculous. But, let's take a look at what I'm using currently in this setup. If you caught my press kit release video where I unboxed this awesome wooden box, you'll see everything I got. But the highlights are, of course, the 1800X, the MSI X70 titanium motherboard with this amazing silver PCB. Oh my god, I love this thing so much. But this platform allows for overclocking, and like I mentioned, the average is around 4.2. They also sent me the Noctua NHU125SE. Little bit of a mouthful, but still, it's because the 1800X does not come with a heatsink. They expect you to be, if you're buying this high-end product, they expect you to be getting a high-end heatsink for it as well. They also sent me a Corsair memory kit at 3000 megahertz, 2x8 gigabytes. And then I rounded out my build with a GTX 1070 that I actually happened to win at that same PDX Land. So if you want to see what else came in the press kit or check out the amazing wooden box, make sure you, I'll put a link up there and you can follow that up. So with a handful of these tests, I defaulted to AMD's testing here, mainly because of where they view the 1800X in comparison to Intel's main competitors. Those are Intel's i7-6900K and the i7-7700K. Now, the first processor there costs over $1,000 for similar specs. But let's talk about. I mentioned Premiere and Photoshop. In terms of Premiere and exporting content, a 1080p video like what you see with this one, when they export a 5.5 minute video at 1080p, Ryzen was able to just destroy the competition. Let's start at the bottom. The 7700K exported the video in 2 minutes 56 seconds. The 6900, 2 minutes 23 seconds, and the 1800X, 2 minutes and 18 seconds. Now, to the gamers or the streamers, that may not necessarily mean much to you, but I went from barely being able to export the dead mouse videos that I put out because it was just way too much information, And this machine just absolutely destroys it. It took me 7 attempts just to export 1/3 of the concert. This handles the entire thing by itself. It's absolutely amazing. But these things are kind of like the specs that I mentioned are more geared towards the prosumer, using it as a workstation. But first and foremost, I'm a gamer at heart, and I mentioned that Ryzen has changed how I game and stream completely. So let's dig into that streaming section. One of the best things about the Ryzen release in general was AMD acknowledging the needs and the shortcomings of streamers, like when it comes to processors. In many presentations, they talked about the fact that many streamers use 2 machines when they stream to Twitch. I mean, while there are some added benefits when it comes to editing and recording, the major problem is that one system actually plays the game while the other one records it, because it causes so much stress on one machine to be recording while gaming. And with the 1800X and a proper GPU, be it a 1070 or 1080, you're able to stream with one system at 1080p, 60 frames per second at 3,500 kilobytes. It's with no problem at all. When talking with other streamers at DreamHack Austin this last event, I was talking with people that were streaming at 4 and 5K kilobytes. It's just absolutely amazing to me. Speaking of that event, AMD partnered with Cybertron and to sponsor the Stream Zone, and in that they were using a 1700X, which overclocks amazingly, by the way, to show off Ryzen's amazing streaming potential. And in those machines, they had a GTX 1080, mainly wanting to highlight the power that Ryzen has when it comes to streamers. And while they acknowledged again that their GPUs may not be the best thing right now for streaming, but that's it right now. And a company that is able to admit their shortcomings and realizing where they're wanting to go in the future just speaks the world to me. Now, I want to take a quick reminder here that AMD is not sponsoring this content. I'm not getting paid. They did provide me with the processor, but this is a product that I actually believe in, and it's why I want to bring you this review and why I actually recommend this to all of you. Be you an Intel diehard, an AMD diehard, or just a budget-focused gamer looking to get the most bang for your buck. So let's get back into the review process. In AMD's testing of the 1800X, it managed to stay competitive with the 6900K, the 7700K in terms of average frames per second when it came to running the same graphics cards, the same test environment that worked, for them. They tested games from GTA 5 to Battlefield 4 and Doom, all running at the glorious 4K. And while the 1800X did fall short when it came to Civilization 6, it stays competitive with everything else. I don't, as much as gamers today, I don't think everyone's looking for Civ 6 at 4K and expecting to get those top frame rates. No one's asking, but can it run Civ 6? But with more and more people looking to upgrade their systems to be 4K ready, so we can play the newest titles with those mind-blowing, amazing graphics that we all want, and with the processors being so close, it all comes down to one thing: the price. At the start of this video, I mentioned that the 6900K is over $1,000. But when we dig into prices on Amazon, the 7700K comes in around $308. The 6900K comes in at $1,049.99, and the 1800X is listed at $419.99. That's under MSRP of $499. So while prices have dropped on these processors, you're still seeing their main competitors at such a higher price. But you might be asking yourself, well, you mentioned the 7700K at $308, but there's a major difference between these here. The 1800X comes with, like I mentioned, 8 cores and 16 threads, while this 17700K only has 4 cores and 8 threads. That's half the price. That's half the performance. I mean, you're still able to get some amazing threads, but if you ever look at kind of looking to develop more of a workstation or using this for some more CPU intensive tasks, you'd be doing yourself a disservice by not spending an extra, what is that, $111 on a much better processor. That being said, I mean, AMD is so much focused on the budget gamer, looking to get you the most performance for your dollar. And, you know, be it the 1800X might not be the processor for you, but you can look towards the 1700X, which is still in the Ryzen 7 series, and like I mentioned before, it overclocks amazingly. Overall, the 1800X, you know, has absolutely changed just gaming for me in general. It's made my, first off, I mean, it's made my LAN rig absolutely amazing. MSI was coming over to take pictures of it at this last event. And, you know, with how much, you know, the Ryzen series has impacted the processor market, it gives me such high hopes for Vega on the horizon to do the same thing to the graphics. I mean, it's diverging a little bit from this main review. I mentioned at the start of this the Vega Challenge, which is where they brought out two systems with, you know, being hidden, and they brought out a V-Sync and a G-Sync monitor, and they had us try, you know, playing Battlefield 1 on both machines to see if we could tell the difference. And while there was some very minor difference, you could tell, I think, Vector, the guy who runs up PDXline, put it the best, where looking at the water, you could tell there was something minor off. I like both of them, but, you know, it's all about what a proper ecosystem for the graphics card costs. You look at a FreeSync monitor, and it costs $200 to $500 less than a G-Sync monitor. To a comparable G-Sync monitor. And now, if you take that into account, it all comes down to what they price the GPU at. And man, are my hopes high for Vega, just like they were high for everyone when it came to Ryzen, and AMD delivered. I'm super excited. Ryzen has, you know, I can't recommend this enough. Like I mentioned before, AMD does not pay me for these videos. They haven't paid me for the past 6 months of me advertising the fact that I've been streaming on an 1800X, because man, it's completely changed everything. I have a PC on my floor here that's an absolute powerhouse that I'm not using right now because I don't need the 2 PC setup. It's Ryzen's been able to take care of everything for me, and, you know, I really do recommend this product to everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and toss the links down below for where you can pick up the Ryzen 1800X on Amazon. You know, for this $419.99, it really is amazing. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm really happy to, you know, be able to bring you this review and kind of show off kind of like at least my take as a streamer and a gamer, you know, when it comes to this processor, because it's something I just can't recommend enough. You know, if you missed you know, my other videos here, I've started uploading my transistor playthrough, and you can also check out that unboxing of the press kit here. You know, it's absolutely just amazing. I seriously love this box to no end. It's currently housing my prior system while I look at building a media PC for an upcoming product review. But I'm actually going to be working on a couple more videos. I've got the Mod Mic 5 review coming up, and I should be getting Cougar's new headset, the Immersa Pro. So make sure you guys watch out for that. I've been using the Mod Mic on stream, but I'll be using the Immersa as soon as I get that to kind of show off that headset and really get a feel for it in long-term game use. So thank you everyone. A big shout out to AMD for making all of this possible, and for, you know, really giving me a chance to, you know, start to review products. It's really opened my eyes to a passion that I had in high school, and, you know, letting me really dive into it now. So thank you, and hopefully I'll be able to bring you guys a Vega review once everything is released. If you want to catch me live on Twitch, you can do that over at twitch.tv/highjump. Links to all my social media down below. And thank you everyone for tuning in, and I'll catch you all later.